What's up, everyone, and welcome to NFL Nexus. Last season, the Houston Texans, wow, they weren't just a surprise, they were a full-blown revelation. They rocketed from basically a league afterthought all the way to AFC South champions, with a rookie quarterback and a first-year head coach leading the charge. It was incredible. But you know what? That was Act 1. Now the real work begins. The rest of the league is on notice, the schedule's going to get a lot tougher, and that element of surprise, yeah, that's completely gone. This offseason is all about proving that 2023 wasn't just some magical fluke. It's about forging a team that can not only win the division again, but can genuinely, truly contend for a championship. By the way, if you love deep dives like this, a quick way to support the channel is by checking out our coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, or even for you. You can find the link right there in the description or just use the QR code on your screen. We'd really appreciate it. Now, let's get back to the Texans.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? How do the Texans actually make that leap? It is, arguably, the single most difficult transition in all of professional sports, going from being that feel-good story everyone's rooting for to a legitimate, feared Super Bowl threat. So many teams get stuck in that good but not great purgatory for years and years. But here's the thing. General Manager Nick Caserio and the entire front office, they aren't just throwing darts at a board. They have a very deliberate, a very multifaceted plan to elevate this roster to that next level. So let's break it down, piece by piece.
You know, when you really analyze their off-season strategy, a clear blueprint starts to emerge. This isn't about just one massive free agent signing or a single splashy draft pick. No, it's way more comprehensive. It's a three-pronged approach that's designed to win now, build for the future, and establish a dominant culture, all at the exact same time.
And that blueprint, it rests on these three core pillars. First, Pillar 1. They're surgically adding proven veteran firepower through free agency to support their amazing young core. Second, Pillar 2. They're using the NFL draft to build a dominant long-term foundation where it matters most, in the trenches. That's the engine room of any great football team. And third, Pillar 3, the one that underpins everything else. It's a conscious, deliberate effort to forge a tough, tenacious, and just relentlessly physical team identity. Let's start with how they're adding those veteran weapons.
Okay, so you've got a young franchise quarterback in C.J. Stroud, who was absolutely lights out. And you have the dynamic receiving duo of Nico Collins and, assuming he's healthy, Tank Dell. So you might be thinking, the Texans are pretty much set at receiver, right? But the front office knows better. They know that championship-level offenses need layers. They need depth. They aren't just looking for another top target, they're looking for a specific kind of veteran who provides strategic advantages, a savvy route runner who can mentor the young guys, who can be a reliable safety valve for Stroud on a critical 3rd and 7, and who can take pressure off the rising stars by just demanding defensive attention.
And when you look at their potential targets, you can see a bunch of different strategic options. They could absolutely swing for the fences with an established, high-volume superstar like Keenan Allen, or, of course, the fan favorite DeAndre Hopkins. Or they could go for these highly reliable, versatile chess pieces like Curtis Samuel, who could do it all, or Brandon Cooks, a familiar face who brings pure professionalism and that deep threat speed. And then you've got the wild cards. This is where it gets really interesting. A guy like Stephon Diggs offers truly elite talent, but yeah, he comes with some questions. Juwan Jennings is a big, physical, blocking receiver who already knows Coach Ryan's system inside and out from their time in San Francisco. And then there's Marquez Valdes-Scantling, a 2-time Super Bowl champion who understands his role on a winning team perfectly. Every single one of these options serves the same ultimate goal: add a seasoned pro to elevate the entire offensive unit.
But let's be real. Let's just focus on the most compelling, most interesting name on that list, DeAndre Hopkins. A reunion in Houston? Man, that would be so much more than just a football transaction. It would be a statement. Hopkins was an all-pro for this franchise. He was a beacon of excellence during some really lean years. And while he may not be the guy who needs 150 targets a season anymore, his value would be immense. He could be an absolute nightmare in the red zone. A mentor showing Collins and Dell the little nuances of the position, and a veteran leader who totally understands the pressure cooker of playing in Houston. He wouldn't need to be the guy anymore. He could be the crucial piece that puts them over the top.
And it's not just a fan fantasy. This quote from Hopkins himself, it shows that the personal connection to the city is still very much alive. Bringing him back would ignite the fan base. It would send a powerful message to the locker room about valuing the organization's history, and it would signal to the entire league that this team is all in on winning right now. It's a move that would have an impact that reverberates far beyond the stat sheet.
Okay, so let's move on to the second pillar of the Texans' plan, building for the future through the draft.
Now, what's so smart about this is that their aggressive and intelligent moves in free agency have a massive positive ripple effect on their draft strategy. It buys them the single most valuable commodity you can have on draft weekend: flexibility.
Think about it. Because they've already addressed their most immediate needs with veteran starters. The Texans aren't cornered. They're not forced into drafting for a specific position. They don't have to reach for a player. They can just let the board fall to them and take the best player available. Or, as we see in this mock draft, they can execute a deliberate, focused strategy to build an absolute fortress on both sides of the line of scrimmage. This right here is how you build a sustainable winner. This is how you contend year after year after year.
And you can see that philosophy play out perfectly right here. In this 3-round mock draft, look what the Texans do. They invest all 3 of their premium picks in the trenches. Bam, step 1, they anchor the defense with tackle Kaden McDonald in the 1st round. Then, step 2, they double down on the offensive line with guard Emmanuel Pregnon in the 2nd. And step 3, they grab center Connor Lew in the 3rd. It's not flashy, it's not going to grab the headlines, but it is a crystal clear declaration of intent. We will win the game at the point of attack. Let's just zoom in on that 1st-round pick for a second, Kaden McDonald. He is considered one of the absolute top defensive tackle prospects in this class, a true dominant force against the run. But his versatility is what makes him so special. He can line up in the A gaps right over the center or in the B gaps over the guards, which allows the defense to create all sorts of different fronts and looks. A player like him doesn't just stuff the run, he collapses the pocket from the inside, preventing quarterbacks from stepping up and escaping those elite edge rushers like Will Anderson Jr. He is exactly the type of foundational piece you build a DeMeco Ryans defense around. And when you pair him with a powerful, mauling guard like Pregnon and a high-upside intelligent center like Lew, well, that's how you build a team that physically dominates its opponents for the next 5 to 10 years.
And that whole concept of physical domination brings us perfectly to the 3rd and final pillar of the Texans' blueprint. Now, this goes beyond the X's and O's. It goes beyond the contracts. This is about establishing a culture. Head coach DeMeco Ryans, a former hard-hitting Texans linebacker himself, is building a team in his own image, tough, aggressive, and just relentlessly physical.
And there is no better embodiment of that identity than linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair. Just listen to this quote. This says everything you need to know. This isn't just empty bravado. It's a mission statement. It is a declaration of his playing style and, by extension, his team's mission. When the man in the middle of your defense, your on-field general, carries himself this way, that attitude permeates the entire locker room. He is setting the standard for what it means to wear a Texans uniform on every single snap. And Al-Shaair makes it perfectly clear this isn't just about him. He says it's a mentality that we have, defining the collective identity of the entire team. In an era of explosive finesse offenses spreading everybody out, the Texans are determined to be the team that reminds everyone that football is, at its core, a violent, physical game. This mentality is that intangible element. It's the grit that turns a talented team into a genuinely feared one.
So, when you put all these pieces together, when you combine the calculated veteran additions, the foundational draft picks focused on the line of scrimmage, and that unwavering cultural identity, you start to see the full picture. You see a clear, cohesive, and incredibly intelligent formula for building a championship contender.
It breaks down like this. They're adding present power with experienced veterans who can make an immediate impact and just raise the floor of the entire team. They're building a future foundation by investing their most valuable draft capital in the trenches, which raises the team's long-term ceiling. And it's all bound together by their core identity, a tough, physical mindset that dictates exactly how they play the game. You see, each pillar directly supports the others, creating a complete and, frankly, a formidable team-building strategy.
The plan is in place, the moves are being made, the identity is being forged. The Houston Texans are leaving absolutely no stone unturned in their methodical quest to become a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And so, the ultimate question is still out there. Is this meticulous, three-pronged attack the formula that will finally bring a championship to Houston? Well, only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, they have a very, very clear map to get there. So now I want to know what you think of their plan. Is there a move they should make? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. And subscribe to NFL Nexus so you don't miss our next explainer. Thanks for watching.